Imagine earning money every time someone pays with a credit card. I'm going to explain how payment processing creates passive income. If you keep waiting for the perfect time to start a business, you'll never begin. And if you can't sit through this for 5 minutes, then you, my friend, are not going to make it. This is your chance to take action and get everything set up in just a week. Welcome to Profit from Payments, the podcast that helps you break free from the 9-to-5 and build real passive income through payment processing. So the best place to start is first, you need to find a reliable payment processing partner. While you do this, you need to register for an LLC or an Inc. I can't give you advice on that, but that's what you need to do because you need a business registered. Now you can do it under your name, not recommended. You should put it under a business, register a business, LLC, Inc., whatever it is that you could do, you want to do. You got to do the research on that. I can't give you advice once again. And then once you've done that, open a new business account, bank account, that is. That's how you can get paid because these payment processors are going to require your ACH information for your bank so you can get paid residuals. So that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing is reviewing that payment processing provider's agreement. And I would say, make sure you're reviewing it, make sure you're signing with the right company. If I were you, I would consult with an attorney to make sure you're not signing your life away. I would say make sure your residuals are lifetime. They don't cut off. Obviously, if you breach or whatever, that's a different story, but they don't cut off after XYZ or if whatever the case might be. That's one, lifetime residuals. Number two, make sure the contract or agreement is not exclusive because you don't want to be exclusive to that single processor. You want to be able to work with others if you want to, because if that processor can't handle a certain type of account, which is, let's say, a high-risk account, I don't want to get into that right now, but let's say that company cannot handle that type of business, then you have the flexibility to go elsewhere. And it should never be exclusive, period. Another thing is make sure it's assignable because while you're building residual in this business, you're also building equity. And what that means is obviously it's your company and you're 100%, whatever equitable in that company, but that residual actually has a multiple just like a business does. So while you're building that residual, you're able to, in the future, let's say you want to sell it. You want to sell a portion of your residuals or all of your residuals and get a big chunk of money. So example here, this is a very, very wide example. If you're making $1,000 a month, you could potentially get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for it, depending on so many different variables, which again, I'm not going to get into right now, okay? Make sure you follow the card brand's policies, regulations, the sponsoring banks, because if you don't, that's one of the breaches in the contract. So be very careful with that. Another thing is when you're looking at the ref share, make sure that ref share is tiered. The reason I like tiered is because it pushes me. I can start at a starting point because, hey, I'm this and this. I can promise you the world. But if I'm not performing, I should stay on tier 1. But what if I am a performer? Then I want to be able to move down the line and be able to go to the next tier based on factors, how much residual is coming in for the company, so on and so forth. And you want to make sure not only tiered, that once you hit that tier, that whole account, your whole portfolio will change to that second tier or third tier, okay? It's very important. Now, once you've figured out, okay, yes, the contract looks fine, I'm good with it. I'm going now to sign it. Once you sign it, you go through that onboarding process with that partner, with that provider. They'll send you like ACH information. Remember, we talked about this is where your bank account information will go, your whatever else that they need, your W-9, because now you're considered a independent contractor. So all that information, they'll walk you through it. It's not a cookie cutter solution. It's very, believe it or not, a lot of these payment processing providers are very old school. So you're going to have to figure it out on your own. Honestly, it's just the way you would have to do it. You got to do the research. And obviously, unless you join a community and all of that stuff, that's a different story. But if you're doing this on your own, I'm giving you all of the secrets of how to start a credit card processing company on your own here. So once you have that figured out, you're signing, you're doing the onboarding, and now you are, you'll get this wonderful email or you'll get a call. You are approved, my friend. Now, once you're approved, congratulations. You are a step ahead ahead of many other Americans in the United States. And now you can actually start selling. You just start building those relationships and whatnot. Now, this is from my perspective and what I recommend doing. You can do whatever you want to do. But my next step after doing that would be to, once you're approved, I don't want to get fancy with CRMs, because once you get fancy with CRM, signing up with this, now you got to learn something new. And who has time for that? Nobody. Because that's not going to change anything especially in the beginning. All you have to do is create a Google Sheet, use your Google Calendar to be able to start prospecting. And I'll tell you this, when I started off, I used a calendar. I'll actually share that story with you because it's a very powerful story in terms of how, when I started off, beside the book of business that I had, I wanted to go out and build relationships too. It's not just building on your network, which is my recommendation. If that's all you do, you'll be successful, because you'll be busy enough. But I went ahead and just, went to other businesses and so on and so forth. So there was this restaurant down the street from my house, and it was around 12 p.m. afternoon, and I was driving by, and I ended up just saying, you know what, let me just stop by. And I went in there. Inside the bar, by the bar area in that restaurant, was the owner sitting down doing some paperwork, because noon the bar is closed. Obviously, the restaurant is closed. They don't open until 4 p.m. So I went in there, I introduced myself. And again, I made a lot of mistakes. Right away, I went for the kill. And I literally said, hey, my name is so-and-so. My name is Michael Gibrail, and I do credit card processing, and I would love to save you money. Not recommended in today's world, because that's not how you win customers. But anyways, I got lucky enough for the guy to say, hey, Michael, good to meet you. Come back in 3 months. Now, for the average person that's listening, or even in sales, 98%, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe 98 or something like a very high percentage of salespeople lack follow-ups. And again, I was there. I started off wrong, all of that stuff, but he said, come back in 3 months. So in my world, in my perspective, okay, I'll come back in 3 months. But in his side, on his defense, he's pretty much saying F off, because 3 months, what is wrong with you? So I went ahead and went in my car. I said, you got it. I got his name. His name was Joe. Went in my car, pulled out my calendar, 3 months. I put the address, the exact same time, because the same day, same time, because if he's here the same day, same time, chances are he's going to be here again. 3 months come around. It popped up on my calendar. Here's what you need to do today. So at that exact time, 12 p.m., I think it was a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, 12 p.m. Tuesday, 3 months later, I go in, the exact same situation. Joe, the business owner, was sitting down in the bar, and he was doing paperwork. And I came in and I said, hi, Joe, Michael, I don't know if you remember me 3 months ago. And I'll never forget his face. It's like as if he saw a ghost, because he was unexpectedly, like, he didn't expect me to actually come back 3 months later like an idiot. Like, who does that, really? But the power of follow-up. So then I go in there and, talking to him and all of that stuff. And long story short, I ended up closing that business, as far as sale, not closing, shutting it down for him. But I ended up closing the business, and that merchant became one of my best merchants. And I love this story because A, follow-up, number one. Two, the simplicity. I didn't use a CRM. I didn't use nothing. I put the notes in my calendar area. So that way when it popped up, because we're humans, we'll forget what we did yesterday. I can't remember what I ate 5 minutes ago. But if you don't document that, you're going to forget. Because if it popped up and I'm like, I don't know what this is, document it, because you'll appreciate it 90 days later or 3 months later. So when I read that, I was like, oh, wow, I remember this day very clearly. Okay, perfect. I know what I need to do. Again, no fancy CRMs, none of that. It was a calendar, damn it. You can do it too. It's still happening today. You don't need anything fancy. You just gotta take action and go out there, because if you're not hitting businesses and talking to business owners every single day, you're not gonna get leads. They're not gonna come knocking on your door. It will happen eventually once you have set up the foundation and all of that stuff. But in the beginning, nobody knows who you are. You're the best. Don't get me wrong. You're the best at what you do, and you're hungry and you're gonna kill it. But nobody knows that. They haven't seen you. They don't know who you are. How are they going to come to you? So again, that's what I would do. Use simple setups as far as, doing it through like Google Sheets, and then use Google Calendar. That is literally it. Serious about building real passive income? If you're ready for hands-on guidance and a proven roadmap, click the link in the description to see how we can work together. This could be the step that changes everything. Now, the next thing that you need to do is once you've set up these businesses and utilized your network and you've closed some deals, go back to these businesses, build that relationship continuously follow up with them, build the relationship, because now you have opportunities to potentially upsell them or any other services, for example, or whatever the case might be. But don't just give them service. You got to give them the absolute best experience, because that's the reason we keep going back to Disney World, right? Because it gives us an experience. It gives us, once emotion is in place and you have that feeling, it's completely different than just having a service. You are now associating that person with a feeling that you have. So that experience is vital. They can have a good experience or a bad experience. I'm going to give you an example of one. Recently, I had a business. They're a wholesale company, which they sell stuff like products to dollar stores, gas stations, and so on and so forth. This business has been calling me for months, potentially even a year. And this business, like when they call me, they're like, hey, Michael, can you save us money? It was always about the money situation with saving them, because there are other processors going there and, switch them over. And I said, you have a good deal, and I'm putting them on a different avenue so I can. I told them, yes, I'll save you. But they were just busy, and it wasn't really it started becoming, I don't want to say the word resentful. They started resenting me, but they had that feeling of I feel like Michael is not doing anything. The power of experience is where this changed this whole outcome completely. Most recently, this business had products on their website that are prohibited with the processor we had them with. Okay. The processor we had them with sent them an email telling them we're shutting you down today. Immediate shutdown. There's no 30-day notice, 7-day notice, or anything. And if you look at my website, my specialty personally, what I went into is high-risk payment processing. I help, businesses that are in the high-risk space, find payment processing. And what I mean by high risk, again, I told you earlier, I don't want to get too deep into it, but high risk could be someone in the adult business, in the CBD, marijuana, travel. Those are all high-risk businesses, and you can see those on my website. If you go to industries, we work with so many. There's endless pharmaceuticals, you name it, we work with them. But anyways, so this person had 3 things. He had Kratom, which is a no-go. Processors, when they see that, especially on the low-risk processors, they'll shut you down. CBD was on his website, and he had sex enhancements on his website. Those are all prohibited with a low-risk processor. Now, he came to me and he said, he was very unhappy. They didn't only shut his place down, he also had 2 dollar stores with us. They shut those down too, okay? I had luckily a relationship with the processor, so I contacted the processor and they insisted they had to shut down the wholesale because of the prohibited items. And I told them, listen, they don't sell them anymore. They don't have them. They'll remove them from their website, because this is what the merchant told me. And they said, it doesn't matter. Once we've seen it, we got to shut it down. So they said, we're going to shut down everything, even the dollar stores. I said, okay, the dollar stores, you're shutting it down because it's associated with the same owner. Can you just give me some time? The weekend is coming. This literally just happened last week. And if a business doesn't have a credit card machine and being set up to accept payments, it's going to be so tough. They're going to lose so much business. And weekend is usually their busiest time. So I got granted an approval by the processor that we work with. And they said, that's fine. We'll extend it to shutting them down on Monday, only for the dollar stores. So we ended up getting them. I called the merchant, and you could feel that he was almost like helpless and he needed help. And I calmed him down. I said, listen, I got you. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to take care of this. Go home, sleep well. I got you covered. Let me stress for you. Let me take that burden off your shoulders. I'll handle the situation and you'll be up and running. I promise you that. I'm doing my best. So this was Thursday. Friday, we got the 2 dollar stores approved. Okay. And then we did ship them overnight. So he ended up getting the machines on Saturday and was able to process. And the wholesale, even the processor I put them with, came back and said, we found these on his website. So I had to go back over the weekend and tell him, listen, let's remove these. Now we need to remove them. You got to be serious about this. If you want to get an approval, because these processors work differently and they want these things gone. You can be on the low risk and pay lower fees, but if you want to go on the high risk, I still have those processors. We can go there, but you don't want to go there because it's going to cost you a shitload of money. Okay. So he was able to connect me with his web guy. And I told his web guy exactly what he needs to remove. In fact, he told me I removed everything, but I have a mentality of double checking everything. So I double checked and there was still one CBD product. I texted him. I said, remove this as well. They removed everything. I did my homework again on it, triple check. There was nothing on there about sex enhancements, kratom, or CBD. Monday morning, we get in. Underwriting at that time from the processor that we submitted it with, they now do their homework further and then they see there's nothing in there and we got them approved. And we shipped the machine overnight. They're receiving it. And when I called this merchant back and told them all this, because I have to underpromise and overdeliver. And if I told him I got you, don't worry, my name is on the line now. I'm taking all his burden, all his problems in this. And I told him, focus on your business. Don't worry about me. I got you. I'm going to take care of this. And I came through. And that gave him the absolute best experience. He didn't talk to me about pricing. He didn't talk to me about anything after that. He was thanking me so much. It was crazy. All because I gave him the best experience. That to me was an amazing experience. He was probably like, shit, if I had switched with somebody else, they're not going to do what this guy did. They're not going to do it. They're not going to go all in, try to help me. Okay. But I did. I came through for him. And it's like in life, when you come through for somebody, it's like almost saving somebody's life. You're like, you owe them a favor almost, like, oh my gosh, this person did something so amazing for me. I gotta stick through this. I gotta do it. Now, do you think this person is gonna switch from me? It ain't gonna happen. I don't care if somebody comes in and says, I can save you $500 or $1,000 a month. They're not moving because they had that experience. Not only did they have a great experience with me agiling through and getting them approved and up and running so fast, but it's the experience of reliability. They now feel reliable about how that experience was. So what I did was after this, I went back after we got dollar stores approved and I asked them for testimonials. I said, listen, how was your experience? For real, how was it? He was like, oh my gosh, thank you. It was amazing. I don't know how you did it, but it's amazing. That actually calls for a testimonial. I mean, I'm sharing this with you because I'm so passionate about it, but I got a testimonial from him. And now I can use that testimonial for my benefit because I went above and beyond. And I don't care how many times you try to go to a business and try to say, hey, buy my products, do this, do that. Nothing says it better than from the horse's mouth. And that's the business. If I read, look at us every day, how we buy based on other people's experiences, right? That's how we buy. We don't want to make a decision on buying a product on Amazon unless it has thousands of reviews and 4.5 stars at bare minimum. That's how life is in business or anything. You want to have that credibility, and to do so, you generate those testimonials, okay? So I know this was a little longer here, but I needed to I want that message to resonate with you because it's so powerful. The next one is generating testimonials. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but you should know what that means. Get testimonials. Go on my website. You'll see testimonials and you'll see case studies. And case studies are so important, again, because people relate to them. They relate to them. They can be like, oh, wow, they helped this person, they can help me. It's that little mind twister. You can do this. You can choose to do this or not. This is kind of like an optional thing, but I highly recommend it. When we grew up, we all want to be celebrities, right? We see all these movie stars and this and that. But like when I grew up, I wanted to be an actor. I really wanted to act. It was something that I saw people do and it was like, oh my gosh, just looks, fun. But talk about celebrity, because when you're a celebrity, look at Dwayne Johnson, look at all of these influencers, they're celebrities. When you see them, you're starstruck, right? When you see them out there, you have that level of respect because so many other people, know who they are. So if you've seen them, you want to take a picture with them, you want to be there, you want to like, oh my gosh, get advice if they're, depending on what kind of influencer they are. How did you make it in life? What are the struggles you went through? Like all of that stuff. But what I would do is set up all your social media accounts, or even pick one that you can focus on, right? It doesn't have to be all of them. But then you can take those testimonials and then you can repurpose them. You can have maybe an interview with your merchant and be like, hey, how did you, or it could just be your merchant just standing there talking about the experience they had with you. Let them mention your name. Let them say how amazing that experience, what you did for them, what you didn't do for them, all of that stuff. Let it be just raw. And once you start seeing, and this is obviously when you start making a little bit money where you can take and reinvest in your business, because that's how you grow a business. But you take those testimonials and you post them. And you're gonna see whichever ones have been watched the most, add a little bit dollars into them. Now we're talking paid media. Put some money into that video and boost it up as far as views in your local area, okay? Let's say you live in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, or Birmingham, Michigan, or Farmington, Michigan. What you wanna do is you wanna create not just that city, maybe like the surrounding area in that county or whatever. And what you can do now is you can repurpose that video, and all the people that have social media that are seeing it, you're gonna be popping up here and there. So after a month of doing so, and it's not gonna cost you a lot, it's not too expensive, but after a month of doing that, you're gonna practically eventually be stopped at a gas station and be like, oh, I've seen your videos. You're the credit card processing guy, or you're the person that helped my friend that I saw on the video. It's so powerful, and that will get you business. Now people are gonna start seeing you. They're gonna start knowing what you do, how you do it. So people are gonna flock to you and try to like sign up with you as a business. That's a wrap for today's episode of Profit from Payments. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you found this valuable. If you're ready to take the next step, I've got something for you. Click the link in the description to join my free community and get exclusive resources to help you build passive income through payment processing faster and smarter. If this episode helped you, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep taking action, keep learning, and remember, you're closer than you think.